what I'm doing. Part of our job is, besides designing and maintaining test data, a part of our job is creating and maintaining and preserving test environments. So, and environment by itself impacts a lot what we are doing. Even the type of browser, not just the feature of the browser turned on or turned off, but if you do exact same thing with another browser, it might behave differently. Okay, you want to see an example? Okay, let me give you an example. So, because we want it practical, yeah? We do not want like just theoretical kind of what is he talking about. Look, I'll show you. There is an application we use in our program. Okay, let's have 3 browsers. That is, okay, we have Firefox, good. We have Firefox, then we have Explorer. Do we have Chrome here? Anybody? Yes? Where is it? Oh, yes, we have Chrome. Good. We have Chrome. So, guys, here is the application. You just look, okay? Don't do anything. It will be energy telecom.org QA. Okay, here is a page. On that page, users are supposed to fill out that form. And here is the zip code field. So if I do digits, I can do just 5, and that is Explorer. I can do just 5. Can I do characters? Yeah, I can do characters. If I do more than 5, copy and paste them. Can I paste more than 5? Yes, I can paste more than 5. That is Explorer. Okay. Let's do same thing. Copy. Let's do same thing in Firefox. Zip code field. So what if I type digits? I can type as many digits as I want. In that browser, in the Explorer browser, it was limited to 5. Here, it is not limited to 5 digits. Okay, good. Can I type characters? Oh, yes, I can type everything. I don't even have to. I mean, I can paste, but here I can even type. So it's just like blank field. Good. Chrome. Okay, let's go to. Oh, we did Chrome. I'm sorry. Okay, we didn't do Explorer. I'm sorry. We go to Explorer and we type digits, as many as we want. What about typing letters? Okay, same thing. What else should I try? I don't even know. I mean, I can paste garbage. So my point here was, if you deal with different browsers, even they process certain functionalities differently. Why? Because browser's job is to visualize and to implement the code behind HTML and JavaScript and whatever might be there. So the limitation of 5 characters here is done probably at the JavaScript level behind. It says cannot take more than 5 or something. I don't know how it is done. But definitely in some browsers that JavaScript works, and in some browsers that JavaScript doesn't work. And very often, I'm not sure if you pay attention, but sometimes on the status bar of your browser it says JavaScript error. Have you seen that? Yeah. What does it mean? Feature is not working. Okay. So that is another issue to deal with. When we will talk about how to test web applications specifically, we will talk about browser compatibility testing and operating system compatibility testing. When it comes to mobile applications, guys, imagine how many devices you should have from how many manufacturers. Now it's about manufacturer. It's not just Android, but who made that Android? See what I mean? The chip behind. So might impact really what happens there. So it should be tested on different versions of operating systems, on different hardware platforms and so on. Okay, coming back, yes.
Can I ask?
Sure.
And whose fault is it? We can type like as many digits as we want.
Guys,
it's
guess whose fault is that?
No, I mean, it's browser fault or this website's fault?
It's not a fault, it's how it was.
It's a problem. There is a problem. There is a problem. So that problem happens because of what? Browser or? So one version was browser is not doing well or?
Oh, the website.
And developer.
Website. The code. So the question is either it is the code, the HTML and JavaScript here, or the browser.
Yeah.
The problem is in browser not being friendly to that code. And the only reason browser is not friendly to the code is developer didn't pay attention to the browser when he was developing the code. Because developers are capable of doing that code in such a way that each and every browser will understand it correctly. Which is a huge problem now, because in today's world, they are not trying to make browsers consistent with each other. 10 years ago, they tried. 15 years ago, they were trying to create similar user experience. They didn't want their browsers to be kind of different and this and that. They tried to be like everybody else. Now they say, look, if you don't use my browser, it's your problem. So my browser is good. Okay. And they all say my browser is good. So Google says my browser is good. Firefox, And it's your choice. I wouldn't say, as a user, I would say I do not have any browser I really like. Because each browser, I know, will result in some garbage at some point. Firefox would be okay, but it is slow. Really, I mean, especially when you just started. It depends. One of the interview questions is, okay, which browser do you like and why? And you still have, no, why is the question? Okay, why is the real question? Why do you use this one? So whatever you say, it might be very, very good reason for whatever browser you are using. Okay. Okay, so I'm trying to illustrate what we are discussing here. So what was the illustration 2, guys? What did I tell you?
Case description. The case include, what does it include?
We ran into certain things being consistent, inconsistent. What if I change the environment here, environment there? What if there is a feature turned on, like autofill, that is a part of environment. And that is very minor part of what might happen to you in terms of environment. If you think about browser, and if you ever go there into possible things you can change in the browser settings, might be a real big deal. And again, you might work in a company where they really pay attention to how people modify their browser settings. So then you're going to be pretty much up to that. In lots of companies, they assume very much default set of settings, so that is what you deal with. It depends. But again, environment is a big deal, and you have to understand that feature of another application is not what you test. Autofill is not what you test. It comes from the browser. And anytime you see something, the first question is it our feature or somebody else's feature? Maybe it's a feature of Windows operating system. I remember one guy here, he was a student in 95 or 96. He would always complain about Windows features. And we are saying, look, you are not testing Windows, you are testing another application. And your company pays you money for reporting bugs in what they can fix. If you have a problem with Windows, write to Microsoft, if you want to. But since we pay you money, you do it from home, and here you work. He couldn't understand. He said, but that is wrong. No, it's you who is wrong. Who think our company is paying you money so you can report bugs on Microsoft Windows. Is it clear? He was a happy guy, by the way. One of the happiest creatures I've seen in my life. So you do what you want. Company pays you money. Yeah. Good. What does test case include? The structure of test case. I don't know if I have to copy paste that one into your list of questions we answer, because it is here anyway, and you just understand the overall idea. Before we execute, after we execute, it is not the set of steps. It is situational. And test case has exact values. If you do not provide exact values, if you describe pretty much the purpose, like valid login, valid password, valid login, invalid password, you are not doing test cases. You are doing how we're going to test. You just limit yourself to the purpose of the test case. Whatever you do, you start with requirements. If you do not start in requirements, you are fooling yourself. Number 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. If you start with requirements, you say, guys, do you give me requirements or you want me to come with assumptions? You say, yeah, please. When you just start writing your assumptions, guys, they might stop you right there. Because obviously you're going to end up in the right place, number 1. Number 2, they've never seen anybody in their life, anybody who will do it that way. You basically teach them how it should be done. Okay? Guys, are we on the same page? Okay. Okay, what's next? Test plan. Okay, let's keep going a little bit here. It says test plan is a document. Here is the official definition. We have 4 keywords to remember. Test plan is a document that describes the objective, scope, approach, and focus of a software testing effort. That is what you have to memorize. Objective, scope, approach, and focus of a software testing effort. There are many different definitions. What can I say? Let's write a couple of things about test plan. So here is the definition. Copy. Yeah. Too many things here. Let me exit. Okay, what is test case? What is test plan? So first we have the definition. Document that describes the objective, scope, approach, and focus of a software testing effort, which so far doesn't tell you much. Okay, but what are the explanations attached to that? We are saying the highest level software testing document possible. There is no document which includes test plan in software testing. That is the highest possible level. And when it comes to test cases, let's write one here. Say the lowest possible level document in software testing. They are on opposite ends, guys. There is nothing smaller than test case, and there is nothing bigger than test plan. Then another thing, just to address certain thing, does not include test cases. Does not. Some people say test plan is a collection of test cases. It is not. Test plan is the highest possible level document. It cannot go to the test case level. It is about resources, schedules, timelines, tools we might use. The next question is what's included in the test plan. So it is coming. What else? Who develops test plan, guys? What do you think? Development. Okay. The Pope, yeah, who lives in Rome. No. Bill Gates. No. Who else doesn't?
Project manager.
Who is project manager? What is the project manager job? What do you think?
Oh, well, it is to come with a plan how the product is going to be developed and before the release.
Is
Like
project
what features are
project
included?
manager a part of QA team?
No.
No. Why in the world project manager will write the test plan? Someone who is not even a part of QA team. I mean, definitely project manager might look at the test plan and suggest something, but project manager is not going to develop the whole thing. No. Lots of people might look at the test plan, but it's not who develops the test plan. Huh?
Scrum Master. Who?
Scrum Master. Weird people. Is Scrum Master part of the QA team? No. Okay. Why in the world you are coming with same issue again and again? I just told you clearly, it cannot be done outside of QA team, guys. It is done inside.
QA lead.
Okay, QA manager, QA lead, who else? Who is tester? What is tester?
Member of QA group.
Okay, is QA manager considered to be a tester?
He might be, yeah.
What do you mean might be? So sometimes he is and sometimes he isn't.
Well, he was himself and he manages other people as well.
So basically you interpret my question like, is QA manager a hands-on tester?
Yeah.
So we have developers, we have testers, and whatever their titles, so they are still developers. And a QA development manager is a developer. He's not a tester or tech support. So he is still a part of development. QA manager is still a part of QA. So, guys, it is developed by all of us in QA team. Our contribution is different. Contribution is different. So people who are more senior definitely have bigger vision and more knowledge and this and that. So their contribution might be more important. But it is developed by QA team. By QA team with other teams possibly contributing. A project manager might suggest something related to timelines and schedules. Development manager might suggest something, or people from development, not necessarily manager, might suggest something related to certain internals or tasks or goals or whatever. But it is developed by QA team, and everybody is involved at some level. The level of involvement might be just reading and suggesting, or maybe reading and becoming aware. Let's say you are a QA intern and they give you the test plan, so you read it. Guys, you might find a couple of inconsistencies there for sure, because you have fresh eye. So it is developed in the team, by the team, but each and every member of the team will eventually contribute a little bit. Okay? Yes, what's your question?
I have a question concerning test cases. Who actually writes test cases? Is tester write and tester execute test cases?
Okay, guys, we have a good question here. So who writes test cases? And who executes test cases? No, wait a second. You ask the question. You don't answer your question. So anybody with the answer here, guys? No? Who writes test cases? Well, all of us. Definitely, if you work in QA team, and then they assign you a certain area of functionality to be tested. So guys, you write test cases for that specific area of functionality. You cannot write test cases for somebody else's area. You just don't know what to say. It takes certain learning curve to be able to write test cases. Is it clear? That is why test case is so detailed and it's so much specific, so you have to be there. You cannot be a QA manager and write test cases. No, you have to really go in depth of functionality and requirements and so on. The process of preparing test plan is a useful way to think through the efforts needed to validate the acceptability of software product. So developing the test plan by itself is a very helpful process. That is what it says. You have to understand that. It's not a definition. It just tells you that when people plan, even if the plan is not going to be executed 100%, it is still very helpful to have a plan. It's like run a business. And you have business plan. And maybe 90% of your business plan will go to garbage can eventually. But at that point, you're going to have better business plan. Is it clear? So same here. The completed document will help people outside of test group, outside developers and project manager, all these people, they have to read though. Okay? Understand why and how product validation should be thorough enough to be useful, but not so thorough that no one outside the test group will read it. If you come with that test plan like that, guys, nobody is going to read it. It might be just 5, 6, 10 pages, maybe 3 pages. That doesn't have to be huge. So if you put test cases there, I can guarantee you nobody is going to read. If you include, attach or whatever. What does test plan include? The answer here, the set of things, it comes from the previous book we used. I mean, lots of different things. And I just bolded whatever I consider to be must when you answer that question. So what is must? Software product overview. So what is exactly we are testing? What is that software about? Scope and limitations of testing. So that is what we do, and that is what we cannot do. We have to limit ourselves because we do not have unlimited time and resources. It could be more than that, guys. I'm just giving you the real must. Testing priorities and focus. Okay. Tools to be used, including versions, patches, whatever. So what we need to be able to do it. Personnel allocation, who does what. And then lots of other things, which might be really. See, test environment setup and configuration issues. Something we discussed. If that is important, guys, it has to be part of it. Which platforms we support and test on, and which operating systems, which browsers, which settings, autofill, whatever. I mean, autofill is a small thing, but on a larger scale. Okay. I hope you are not going to write much of that within the next couple of years. But guys, within the next couple of years, half of you will be in the position where you are supposed to contribute a lot. You might think, I'm so small, I'm just a beginner. A couple of years from now, half of you will be managers and leads. Statistically, I mean, I just look at other groups. You know why? It's much natural, much more natural, much easier for you to be at that level rather than learning C# or Java, or really dive into coding. Okay, if you have not been doing coding for years, guys, you don't want to do it at your age and at your level of maturity. So it will be more natural. You can start with basic stuff, but very, very fast. Guys, I just want you to understand. We send you out. We represent you when we come to other companies. And when we say, okay, she is a good girl, he is a good boy, but guys, we have to feel comfortable about that. If you sabotage what we are telling you, okay? Bubble gum, coming late, talking when I'm talking, and all that stuff, it's not just irritating me with what you are doing, but it is telling me, Michael, you cannot rely on me, okay? I'm not with you. I'm playing my own game, and I don't care about you, and so you shouldn't care about me. That is what you are telling me, guys. I'm not joking here. It comes to the point where it plays certain role. So being a good citizen here is important. I mean, it tremendously benefits you. Write test cases for test field. No, we will write. There is another one down there which says write test cases for login password. We will do that. Test matrix. Okay. No? Login password. Is it there? Oh yeah, no answer. Misspelled though. So guys, we will talk about this one. Test cases for login and password. What do we start with? Tell me. Assumptions, requirements. Good. Assumptions, requirements. So what are the requirements we assume? And we want test cases. We do not answer the question, how would you test? We are answering the question, write test cases for login password functionality. Very often when you answer that question, you start naturally, you start talking about web page. Guys, there is no differentiation here between web page or the Windows application or Macintosh application or Unix or handheld device, you know, mobile, iPhone, Android. So it should not be the part to the testing unless you make the assumption. Unless you are saying, I'm doing that from my mobile phone and there are some specifics you want to take care of, yes. But so far, it's just about functionality. So login and password. So what would be the, OK, let's say assumptions.
Required field.
Assumptions of requirements. What is required field? Guys, anybody in that class, assumptions, anybody in that class ever seen password or login required? Guys, it's not, I don't think so. I mean, that is the only place where they want you to fail, actually. If you compare that to any other functionality, they want you to succeed. Here, they want you to fail. If it is required, and guys, it is always required. Think about it. If you type nothing into that field, what's going to happen? Nothing. So why should they say, no, you cannot, you have to? No. If you type nothing, they say, OK. Again, there is nothing against making it required. I'm just telling you, I don't remember myself ever seeing that required. Number one. Number two, is it the most important thing about that, which being or not being required? Guys, the order in which you describe the functionality also tells a lot about you. Who are you? What's important to you in login and password? What is that? What are the possible? And I told you before. I already gave you the very first requirement to write down.
Valid login, valid password,
Exactly. Exactly. So we have assumptions, then we have test data, and then we have test cases. So we will have three groups. Because to test, we have to have accounts. Am I right? OK. So assumptions of requirements. So number one, we are saying valid login and valid password combination combination let's user in. Okay. And guys, we have another requirement which says any other combination will be rejected. Yeah, okay. Any other combination will be rejected. Good. What else? Okay, we have to assume it is case sensitive or it is case insensitive. In Windows environment, normally it is case what? Insensitive. Insensitive. It is case sensitive normally in Unix environment. But Windows was originally created for people who are not capable of differentiating much. Okay? Uppercase and lowercase, so just for everybody. And then let's say password is case insensitive. Login is case insensitive. What else?
Invalid gives the message, forgot your password.
Okay, guys, very good point. Before we proceed, I will give you brief introduction into the concept of equivalence classes. We will talk much more about that later on. But here is the idea. When we come with test cases, we have two methodologies which we normally use. One methodology is called equivalence classes. Another methodology is called boundary conditions. Two methodologies. So boundary is the place where we move from one behavior pattern into another behavior pattern. For example, let's say you have a life insurance application. Quote. It says, give me your date of birth, blah, blah, blah. I'll give you the quote. And then it says, if you are 85 years old, it's OK. But if you are 85 years old plus 1 day, you are not eligible. What happens if I type my date of birth and the system realizes I am 85 plus 1 day? It provides me certain message. Okay, thank you very much. Keep the money. You're going to need them soon. Something like that. Nice. But you know what? Being too young is also disqualifying me. To insure a child for life insurance, the child should be 15 days old at least. You cannot insure a child which is who is 3 days old or 10 days old. The child has to be 15 years old. So now we have two boundaries. In between 15 days old and 85 years old, we have one response, which is quote. Whatever that quote is about, but it provides me with a quote. Below 15 days, it says, too young, we can issue that policy only starting with such and such age. So we have three responses. Response 1, too young. Response 2, quote. Response 3, too old. Three responses. We have three classes. Three equivalence classes. What is equivalence class? It is a group of inputs which result in same output. All the possible dates of birth in between 15 days and 85 years old belong to same class. Why equivalence class? Because the response is the same. All the dates of birth after age 85, whatever the age, are belonging to same class because they have the same output. Now, here is why we use that methodology for developing test cases. We are saying each and every class needs just one test case. Because the whole idea of the class is they are all the same. It makes no sense. We have a group of interview questions which are, how many test cases do you need to test this? For example, how many test cases do you need to test that life insurance screen functionality? How many?
One for each.
One for each class. We need 3. We need something below, less than 15, something in between 15 days and 85 years. Any one is okay. And any one after 85. That is one methodology. It says 1 out of class. Another methodology is called boundary conditions, or boundaries, or boundary testing, or whatever. Boundary is the place where we move from one class to another class. And if you understand the difference between A less than B on one hand and A less than or equal B on the other hand, then that is what happens on the boundaries. So boundary might belong to the wrong class. Enormous amount of bugs happen on the boundaries. Why we care about boundaries? Lots of things happen there. And if you do, let's say, in real life, if you do, let's say, 100 test cases for boundaries, you might run into like 30, 40, 50 bugs right there. It's very beneficial. So you want to test boundaries because that is where you come with lots of bug reports. Now, how many test cases do we need to test one boundary? Come on. We have 2 behaviors. One side of the boundary, another side of the boundary. There is no 3. Boundary, the way boundary behaves belongs to one class or another class. All it takes is to make sure the behavior changes in the right place. You have 2 behaviors. Let's say below 15 days and older than 15 days. And you take the nearest proximity of the boundary. Let's say, okay, if 15 comes with one message and 16 comes with another message, then you do 15 and 16. You catch the place where it changes. That is how you do boundaries. Is it clear?
But if you have period from 3 to 6 days, for example.
What is 3 to 6 days? We have period of 16 days to 85 years. We have it there. We have one like that. From 16 days old to 85 years old, we have it. We need two test cases on one boundary and 2 test cases here. On 15 days, you do 15 days and 16 days, and you make sure it changes. On the other hand, you make 85 years old plus 1 day, and you make sure it changes. The response changes. It's a black box. You send something, and you look at the output. And you come up with a date of birth, which makes them 85 years old today. And then you come up with date of birth, which adds just 1 day. Boom, and you see the change. Instead of quote, it comes with message saying thank you very much. Guys, we will go into that in much more depth. And I would tell you, from my opinion, there is nothing more complicated. It's not really complicated, but there is nothing more complicated than equivalence classes in the course of software testing we teach. That is the most complicated thing, which is not really complicated a lot. But if you do it a couple of times, you will kind of get used and it's okay. Why we talk about that right now? Because we are doing a sum p. Nobody told me I missed the p. A sum p. Assumptions. Why we talk about that right now? Because we come with requirements. And then test cases. And we are saying password is case insensitive. Good. Login is case insensitive. But then one of the important things with what happens, it says any other combination will be rejected. The question here is, should I try just one combination for every possible combination? Just one. See, we have two classes. One class has just one member. Valid login, valid password. Just one class. And it lets me in. Any other one will be rejected. So, should I take any combination Just one. Or I need multiple combinations.
Just one.
Wait a second, guys. Wait a second. Wait a second. It's true. It's true. From the formal logic standpoint, yes. But the thing here is, we might have different responses from the system. For example, when you said the fields are required, it could be the case, guys. It could be the case. But then, if it is the case, then we need another error message, which says the field is required, which creates another class. There is a class. Why? There is a response which says field is required. And then there is a member of that class which generates that message. So for each class, we need one more test case. The question here is, do we have just one class under rejected? Or we have multiple subclasses under rejected? Because now it depends how it is rejected, with which message it is rejected. Because if we have 10 messages to be generated, now we have 10 classes. Because for testing purposes, we have to create 10 different inputs to run into 10 different outputs. Is it clear? So it's not enough to say, well, whatever it is going to be rejected. Maybe there are some differences. It might say something. Guys, any ideas? Have you seen anything in systems doing that to you personally? When it rejects you, what does it normally say? Definitely, it is not going to help you to come with correct password. It wants you to fail. I mean, unless you really know what you are doing, it wants you to fail. So,
Comes with a message, username / password or and password are incorrect.
if I say, please provide valid combination, yeah. Now, just one message or multiple messages? If it depends, if you say depends, it means there might be multiple ones. Okay, give me an example of something different from that. Because if you come with an example, we write another test case.
Provide the message, invalid, reminding you that it's case sensitive or it's case insensitive.
So it helps you to get in.
Yeah.
It might come with something like, please remember the password should have at least one digit or something like that. But the question is, do we have multiple possible messages or it is still the same? Okay, start here.
Sometimes it distinguishes if the password or the login is wrong.
Guys, I don't know. Normally it says password or login.
No, I've seen the cases where it like says which one is wrong.
It does?
Yeah.
No, I never seen.
I don't know. I mean, to me it makes no sense. But let's say, okay, if that is the case, then we need one more test case. Yes?
If your caps lock on a keyboard is pushed, it's saying you check the caps lock.
No? No.
No.
It says check your caps lock without your caps lock being one way or another way. It just suggests you where the problem might be. It might say your password is case sensitive. That is what it might say. Your password is case sensitive. Please. So as one of the possible solutions, look at that. It will not tell you it is one way or another way. No. Yes.
After you put it in a few times, they might block you from trying again.
It's a different functionality, which really is beyond that, beyond login and password. It might have checkbox which says, do you really want to see your password when you type it in? You check the box and you can see it. Yes, but it is outside of the scope. But if you include it here, then you have a test case. Guys, we are the kings now. Whatever functionality we include here, and then we come with test case, it's correct. Any more?
Yeah, forgot your password or forgot your username.
It's a different one. Again, you can put it here, you can test it differently, but testing the forgot your name, blah, 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 is more complex than testing this. It's a different feature completely. So I wouldn't do that. Yes, I wouldn't include that because it's a big feature by itself. It's not just one test case or two. It's a big thing. Yes.
What about certain amount of characters?
Certain amount of characters.
Like you know how it's case sensitive for the password or allowing maybe the password has to have like a certain amount of characters, like over 5 or 6 characters.
The thing is, if the password, even if the password has exact same amount of characters, but characters are not right, just one character is not right, it will be rejected. If you have more characters or less characters, it's even better to be rejected. But the issue here is very interesting. Lots of people run into saying, okay, let's talk about valid and valid input. Let's talk about capacity of that field, how many letters it can take. Let's take a look, guys, at you know campus, no? You know that one? The place where we keep self-paced classes for you. You know that page? You don't know we have self-paced classes for you? Hee guys, here it is. We have self-paced classes for you, nine classes. And actually, if you complete it, it will give you certificate. You can print certificate. You might end up with 9 more certificates if you want that. But here is how it works. Yeah, campus, educatium.com/Portnoy. So that is how it works. We have classes. Look, Selenium, JavaScript, XML, SQL, Perl, Shell, Unix, Mobile, HTML. Okay. To have access to that, you have to create your own account. Look, it says create new account. Can you see it? Create new account. And when you click here, it says, okay, what's your username? What's your password? What are your certain details of your profile? By the way, unmask. See, if I unmask, it shows what I'm typing here. So I'm less likely to make mistakes here. Now, and let me try username. Okay, let me try password. I mean, big one. Email. And create my account. Let's see. He doesn't complain about password being too big, you know. Okay, let's say Obama at whitehouse.org. Gov. Okay. Let's say org. Okay. They might reject government addresses. Okay. Copy. First name should be okay. Country, Bahamas. Yeah, nice country. Now, an email should be sent to your address at. Guys, I can tell you, they have no validation of password in that thing. A password cannot be that big. When they tell you create an account, there should be some place when they suggest, or maybe if I say nothing here, let's try. When they suggest what that missing user